When the ship landed, the entire colony gathered to watch. It wasn't every day that a marriage decree from the Union Council of Worlds came down from orbit. Ethan Ward, 27, an Earthborn mechanic with grease-stained hands and tired eyes, stood before the crowd like a man walking to his own execution. He wasn't a soldier, a diplomat, or even a scientist, just one of the thousands of colonists sent to rebuild a broken mining station on Varela 9, a planet half terraformed and half wild. But today, he'd been chosen for something far stranger. By interspecies treaty, every human laborer on Varela 9 was bound to assist social integration. For one unlucky man, that meant marriage, and that man was Ethan. The alien delegation emerged from the ship. Tall, graceful beings with glimmering blue-silver skin, their movements smooth as flowing water. Their leader stepped forward, her aura glowing faintly in the dusty air. Her name was Lady Seraphine Valren, High Consort of the Aurelian Houses, a diplomat, scientist, and priestess all in one. She was 60 years old by human reckoning, but her species aged differently. Her skin was luminous, her face regal, her hair a silver cascade that shimmered with streaks of gold. She looked no older than 30. When her violet eyes met Ethan's brown ones, he swore the world fell silent. "You are Ethan Ward," she said softly, her voice musical but cold. "You've been chosen as my union partner." Ethan bowed awkwardly. "Ma'am, with all due respect, I didn't sign up to be anyone's husband." "You did," said the council officer beside him. "Clause 7B of your colony contract, interspecies cooperation agreements. You'll receive full human citizenship after 3 years of marriage." Ethan blinked. 3 years? 3 years, Seraphine repeated, her lips curving faintly. "Do not worry, human. I have no need of your affection. This is political, not personal." But as she turned, her eyes lingered on him a heartbeat too long. Chapter 2. The Cold Union. Their wedding was quiet, more ritual than romance. She wore a veil of liquid light. He wore a stiff collar that itched. The vows were translated through an AI. When it was over, Seraphine led him to her residence, a vast glass citadel overlooking the crimson forests of Varela 9. Inside, everything gleamed, pulsing faintly with bioluminescence. The air smelled of rain and electric storms. "You'll live here," she said. "You'll be my consort in name. In return, you will assist with maintenance of my research systems." "No physical expectations," Ethan exhaled, half relieved. "Sounds like a fair deal," she nodded. "You will address me as Lady Seraphine. I will address you as Consort Ward. That is sufficient." For weeks, that was how they lived, like strangers bound by law. Ethan fixed her lab's machinery, cooked his own food, and slept in a separate chamber lined with glowing vines. She worked late into the nights, analyzing mineral samples and sending transmissions to orbit. He often caught her staring at old holograms of her people, portraits of Aurelian cities floating among clouds of crystal. Once he asked softly, "You miss it, don't you?" She looked up, startled. "You assume much. You wouldn't stare at something that long if you didn't." Her expression softened just slightly. "I miss what we were before the wars. Before humans arrived and turned our worlds into treaties." Ethan shrugged. "We didn't mean to take your home." "No," she murmured. "But you did." Chapter 3. The Crack in the Ice. The turning point came one stormy night. A power surge hit the citadel, and one of Seraphine's containment systems collapsed. An entire lab flooded with toxic vapor. Ethan didn't think, he ran in. He dragged her out through the haze, coughing, eyes burning. Her elegant robes were torn, her usually perfect composure shattered. She lay trembling in his arms, breathing hard. "You, foolish human," she rasped. "You could have died. So could you," he said. "Guess we're even." For the first time she laughed, quietly, shakily, but real. Her skin glowed softly, her bioluminescent pulse syncing faintly with his heartbeat. Later, as she recovered, she said, "My people would call that act a binding. To risk your life for another is sacred." Ethan smiled tiredly. "Guess I didn't get the memo." But something changed after that. She started bringing him tea from her homeworld, shimmering gold in glass cups. He began fixing things before she asked. They talked about stars, about loss, about the absurdity of a universe where a human and an alien, could end up married because of bureaucracy. And one night, as they looked at the glowing skyline of Varela 9, Seraphine said quietly, "Perhaps this union is not a punishment. Perhaps it's a second chance." Chapter 4. The age between them. Their growing closeness drew attention. Council officers began whispering, an Earthman and an Aurelian consort sharing chambers, laughing together, eating together, when one officer mocked Ethan, saying, "She's old enough to be your grandmother," Seraphine overheard. Her gaze was icy as the void. She found Ethan later, anger in her voice. "Does it not bother you that I am decades older, that I have lived through empires and you have barely seen a continent?" Ethan met her eyes calmly. "You act like age is the only thing that matters." "It should. No," he said softly. "What matters is that you make me feel alive." She stared at him speechless. "You've seen so much," he continued. "And still you care, still you try. You could have ignored me, treated me like a contract. But you didn't." She turned away, voice trembling. "You are strange, human. You make me remember emotions I buried long ago." Chapter 5. The Festival of Two Suns on Varela 9. Once every solar cycle, the planet's twin suns rose together, painting the sky in molten gold. It was tradition among the Aurelians to renew vows that day, to speak truth without law or politics. Ethan didn't expect her to invite him. Yet that morning she appeared in his doorway wearing a gown of flowing light. "Walk with me." They climbed to the high cliffs where the wind carried shimmering petals across the sky. Seraphine turned to him, her voice unsteady. "Ethan Ward, when this union began, I vowed to keep my heart distant. I have failed." He stared at her, the suns glowing in her eyes. "Failed?" She reached out, her hand trembling. "You've become more than obligation. You've become—" He didn't speak. He simply took her hand and held it tight. For a long time they stood together as the suns rose. Two worlds reflected in each other's light, and in that silence, the word love passed between them, unspoken. But certain Chapter 6, the separation piece, didn't last. Months later, the Union Council issued a new order. All mixed marriages were to be reviewed for violation of neutrality. Aurelian officials accused Seraphine of compromising her rank. Humans accused Ethan of exploiting her status. They were to be separated, her reassigned to orbit, him relocated to a human sector. When she received the notice, Seraphine's voice broke for the first time. "I will appeal." They can," Ethan said quietly. "And they will." She turned away, shoulders trembling. "After everything, they still fear us loving." Ethan stepped closer, then let them fear it. The next morning she left for orbit. He stood by the landing pad, watching her ship disappear into the clouds. She looked back once through the viewport. He lifted his hand. She did the same. Then she was gone. Chapter 7. The long year Ethan stayed behind, rebuilding machines, patching roofs, fixing old drones. But without her, the Citadel felt like a tomb. He dreamed of her voice, her laughter, the way she tilted her head when she was amused. Every transmission he sent was blocked by the council. Every letter deleted. He began to think he'd never see her again. Until one night, almost a year later, the sky split open. A ship descended silently, smaller than before, without insignia. Its ramp opened, and there she was, older still, eyes tired but burning with resolve. "Ethan," he ran to her. She laughed through tears. "I resigned. The council cannot control what I no longer serve." He stared, stunned. "You gave up everything." She shook her head. "No, I chose everything that mattered." Chapter 8, What No One Expected. They rebuilt their life in secret, far from the colonies. A small homestead on the edge of the forest, powered by sun and silence. He grew a beard. She planted gardens that glowed in the dark. Sometimes she sang to the stars. Sometimes he fixed the pipes while she teased him for using primitive tools. 33 years of difference became meaningless. Time itself seemed to bend around them. When the suns rose together again, he found her watching the horizon. "What are you thinking?" He asked. "That I was right," she whispered. "No one expected what happened. Not the council. Not even me. What did happen?" She smiled, touching his chest. You taught me that love isn't bound by treaties, age, or species. It's bound by courage. He kissed her hand. Then let's be brave forever. The wind caught her silver hair, wrapping it around them both like light, and for the first time in a long, violent universe, two souls, one human, one alien, found peace.